trust you forever.
Ken Wall inside the mob, but working for the good guys. Next Wednesday, June 15th.
It's gonna go down fast.
A special 2-hour Wise Guy at 9, 8 Central.
Sunday.
There's a chance we can save her.
I'm saying it's too late.
2 girls are dead. 1 man is driven to expose the truth.
The killers may have been police.
You think I would allow a cover-up if I saw one?
Not if you saw one.
James Ferrantino, caught between a deadline and a deadly secret. What really happened that secret Sunday on CBS?
This is CBS.
Up next on the 10 p.m. report, Minneapolis police hit city bars, taking juveniles with them.
The man whose children lived in the garbage house tells his story.
The governor surveys the damage before asking for federal help.
In Dimension, a focus on the link between race and crime and a new idea for the care of the elderly.
I'm Don Shelby.
And I'm Pat Miles. The 10 p.m. report is coming up next.
There's no doubt your car's the hardest working member of your family.
I'm driving all day, yeah, gotta do my work. I got to work, gotta do my work.
That's why your car deserves FINA.
Not making my pay, not going my way. Gotta work, ooga chugga ooga. Yeah, baby.
FINA carries every grade that ensures each car gets the gas it runs best on. The hardest working member of your family. Your car's got a friend at FINA.
The 1988 Chevy Corsica 5-passenger sedan performed so well, 99% of its owners would recommend it to a friend. And the 1% who wouldn't, probably keeping a good thing to themselves.
As an aerodynamic sports sedan, the Chevrolet Corsica is a lot of fun to drive. But now that Chevrolet has made it possible to save up to $1,600 on one, Corsica is also a lot of fun to buy.
Being cool, you find, is a state of mind. A refreshing attitude when things get hot. Cool is all you got. Doing it country cool. Doing it country cool. Doing it country cool.
Now get the refreshing country cool taste of Mountain Dew in a diet. New Diet Mountain Dew with 100% NutraSweet.
The St. Paul man whose family lived for years surrounded by tons of garbage and waste tonight responds to the question, why?
WCCO Television presents Pat Miles, Don Shelby, Mike Fairborn, and Mark Rosen. This is the 10 p.m. report.
Good evening, everyone. The saga of the garbage house continues tonight.
Since the public first learned about that house on Sherwood Avenue in St. Paul, filled with 8 years' worth of garbage and human waste, no running water, the question has been, how could the parents of 4 children allow that to happen? Tonight, we have some insight. For the first time, the owner and father, Michael Eggert, responds. Reporter Pat Kessler caught up with Eggert in court, where the St. Paul man appeared on charges unrelated to the garbage house.
They closed up the garbage house on Sherwood Avenue today. As they took out the last of the trash and sealed the place, Michael Eggert was in court on a domestic abuse charge. He would not answer questions on camera and could not explain the mountains of trash in which he, his wife, and 4 children lived. Things just got out of hand about 3 years ago, he said. Eggert told us they carried in water, went to the bathroom in garbage bags, took the bags outside, and buried them. It sounds horrid, I know, he told us. When asked about his 4 children, he fought back tears. They were not beaten, he said. They were fed good. They had clean clothes. We pressed him on why all of this happened. He simply said, I just don't have an answer. Sometimes things get away from you faster than you can keep up. Pat Kessler, WCCO Television News, St. Paul.
In court today, Eggert pleaded guilty to charges he tried to choke his wife, Deborah, on May 27th. The alleged incident did not occur in the Eggert home on Sherwood Avenue. Eggert also told Pat Kessler today his children have received checkups and are physically okay, says Eggert. Eggert says he plans to get himself the, quote, help he says he needs.
Governor Rudy Perpich will travel to Washington next Monday to try to get help for the state's drought-stricken farmers. Today he visited northwest Minnesota to survey $250 million worth of problems facing farmers because of the lack of rain. Next week he will meet with the Secretary of Agriculture. He will ask that farmers be allowed to get hay from land that the government pays them to hold in reserve. Some farmers say that without help they'll fall too far behind and perhaps lose everything they worked for over the years.
It's taken us 50 years to get there now, and if we don't get help now, I mean immediately, we're done. And we're 50 years old, and where are we going to go?
In neighboring Wisconsin, the situation is just as bad. Governor Tommy Thompson declared a state of emergency because of the drought. That declaration will make it easier for Wisconsin farmers to take water from lakes and streams to irrigate the crops.
Quality Pork of Texas opened its hog slaughtering plant in Austin, Minnesota Monday to hoopla and celebration. It meant 250 new jobs and the big sign of recovery for Austin after the bitter Hormel strike in 1985. But tonight the celebrating is over. Today an arbitrator ordered that plant be shut down.
Well, I was standing there working and the foreman came up and he just says, "Don't come to work tomorrow, listen to 6 o'clock news and you'll find out why." And he says, "We'll notify you when to come back to work. If you're coming back, I guess." So it don't look like we're going back to work either.
Quality Pork leased its plant from Hormel Meatpacking. Workers at the new plant were paid less than $8 an hour. Hormel would buy the slaughtered hogs from Quality Pork and process them.
They wanted to cut wages. It's plain and simple, for profit. Each year since the strike, they've reported record profits, and it's a pure question of greed.
Today's ruling said Hormel did not have the right to subcontract the hog kill, that leasing the plant to Quality Pork was violating its contract with the Meatpackers Union 9. Today, Hormel officials accused the union of driving 250 jobs out of Austin and said, quote, "If we can't lease it, it means hog slaughtering in Austin is over for good." That worries at least one of the workers.
You think this was a victory for the union?
No, I don't think it's a victory for anybody. I think it's kind of ruined lives myself.
The kill workers at the plant worked their last day today. The rest will work one final day.
The Hennepin County Attorney's Office has cleared Ramsey County Attorney Tom Foley of allegations he was involved in prostitution. In March, a man named Darrell Lewis told police Foley was involved in prostitution activities. Investigators say there is no evidence Foley did anything wrong. And the Hennepin County Attorney's Office says Lewis has admitted he lied about the charges against Foley. Charges may be brought against Lewis now for falsely reporting a crime.
Minneapolis police at this hour continue their crackdown on bars that serve liquor to minors. Despite the objections of some bar owners in the past 2 weeks, police sent underage decoys into 15 different bars. In each, the minor was served, the bar tagged. Bar owners say it's unfair and met with police administrators this afternoon. But as Trish Van Pilsen reports tonight, the Vice unit is back out there.
Police sent an 18-year-old and 20-year-old into the Yukon Club. The decoys were served, their IDs never checked. It was the same story at Zandy's, and once inside, police spotted and took the names of 4 other teenagers.
Do you have any ID on you?
What's this for?
I don't, but my car was parked here. I was at Tatters. I was just getting my car. What is your name?
These were the first of several scheduled raids tonight, raids that have prompted controversy. Craigie knows how it feels to have her bar busted. She owns the Spring Inn, which was tagged after an underage decoy was served. Now they're checking everyone's ID, no matter what age.
Thank you, sir. You betcha.
Craigie believes the use of decoys is unfair, especially in bars like hers with an older clientele where young people generally don't drink.
I'd rather have them check every individual that was in my premises at the time, and if at that time they got a minor, fine.
Bar owners admit they may have gotten lax about checking IDs. Since police haven't enforced the law, owners say they didn't know they had to be so strict.
They have to do this on a regular basis in order to make the people aware that there has to be checking of IDs, not serving people that are over-consuming the beverages, that it has to be a yearly or a semi-annual thing.
Police say they have let enforcement of the law slide and say that will change. And they say the fact so many bars have been tagged recently shows how easy it is for kids to get alcohol.
We want bar owners to be responsible. We want bar owners to be good guardians of their businesses.
Bar owners want the police to start going after the kids, not the bars. Police say they will start tagging minors, but will keep going after bartenders and bar owners as well. Trish Van Pilsum, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
Bartenders caught serving a minor can face up to 90 days in jail and a fine of up to $700. The bar owner can be fined too, and the bar's license can be suspended for up to 3 days for a first offense, up to a week for a second offense.
Democratic presidential candidate Michael Dukakis spent this day picking up endorsements. He had little time to bask in the aftermath of his primary victories. Unifying the party is next on his agenda, and it began today as former presidential contenders lined up behind Dukakis. Arizona Governor Bruce Babbitt did it over the phone. He was the first of 4.
I'll try back in. I will vote for Michael Dukakis at the convention and will do everything I can to advance his candidacy after the convention.
Above all, with Mike Dukakis, what you see is what you get. And I like what I see.
I endorse him. I endorse him. I endorse him.
Despite Dukakis' clean sweep, Jesse Jackson says he is not dropping out of the race and will continue to seek delegates, but he also today declared again he has earned the option to be the vice presidential candidate. Dukakis says he will begin his search for a running mate next week and will, quote, cast his net far and wide.
Now this, have you ever wondered what really bugs people in the Twin Cities? Well, according to the survey results released today by Orkin Exterminating Company, the answer is flying insects. Of the 473 residents polled, 36% were most frightened by wasps and bees. 22% feared rats the most, while mice, roaches, and spiders came in third. I'm frightened of rice occasionally, too. When asked to comment on the reason for fearing these insects, at least one respondent said they have beady little eyes and a sneaky approach.
Well, it all started after my car here began to act up on me. It'd spit and sputter. It was hard to start. A buddy of mine suggested that I fill up with super clean unleaded gasoline from Phillips 66. I did, and it worked. Now it starts right, and it runs right. The problem wasn't my new car. It was my old gasoline.
Good things for cars and the people who drive them.
Volkswagen engineers have spent years refining our front-wheel drive, rack and pinion steering, and four-wheel independent suspension. Because the engineers of Volkswagen believe it's not just how fast you go, but rather how well you go fast. German engineering, the Volkswagen way.
Don't look now, the bunny's undercover. Got a special flavor for us ice cream lovers. Top secret recipe, don't say a word. This bunny flavor is classified good.
The Blue Bunny says all you chocolate malt lovers should try his new chocolate malted ice cream, crammed with real Whoppers malted milk crunchies. It's a whopper of a treat, and that's no whopper.
Howdy, the Blue Bunny, no trick to it. Open up a carton, dig in and do it. Whales, get your taste buds hopping.
Two large-scale and sometimes sensitive problems are the focus of tonight's Dimensions segment.
Later, why black leaders have come together in Minnesota this week to look at a crime committed by blacks against blacks. First, one aspect of a story which made national news today.
Representative Claude Pepper of Florida stepped before the U.S. House of Representatives hoping to convince them that Medicare should be extended to home health care.
When you go home tonight and you close your eyes and sleep and you ask, what have I done today to lighten the burden upon those who suffer? At least you could say, I helped a little bit today.
But the House rejected the $30 billion plan, some members complaining that it would drain too many funds from nursing homes. It was aimed at helping the elderly now and in the future, and here's why. In 1960, people over 65 made up 9% of the population. By the year 2010, they will make up almost 14%. There needs to be new ways to take care of this aging population, but today's House vote means that some of the new ways will not be covered under Medicare. Nevertheless, they continue to catch on, and as Mike Strand tells us tonight about some alternatives to nursing homes.
Babysitting the elderly isn't a new concept.
Here we go. Who am I going to throw it to now? Anywhere you want to. John, ready? Okay.
But caring for people with mild dementia or Alzheimer's traditionally was left to institutions like nursing homes and hospitals. Today, there are growing numbers of startup programs like this adult daycare center, which bridge the gap between home and institutional care.
Many of our clients have reached the point where their social life is limited to family members, and it gets pretty lonesome at home. And they come to the center and they make new friends, and it becomes much like a family setting for them here, a substitute family.
The need for adult daycare can be as basic as getting a balanced meal or a regular bath. For most, it provides both fun and community, helping seniors exercise both their minds and bodies by playing games, reading, or just talking. And for families of elderly relatives, it can mean a much-needed respite from the constant strain of in-home care. Experts say socializing is vital for seniors' health and emotional well-being.
If you're sitting too long and not doing any of that, that would tend to hurry the deterioration, I think. The longer you keep pushing on, the longer you're going to keep pushing on.
And so the more that we can help with letting people know that this is an alternative, it will really help for families to make those kinds of arrangements.
For the elderly who require regular assistance in daily living, there is the group home. For nearly 4 years, the Rockma House in Minneapolis has provided that alternative to institutional care.
Sister, look at what she's doing. She's being silly there.
The Middle Eastern name Rockma means unconditional love, and staffers here care for half a dozen people in a highly personal, home-like setting. But like many such programs, owner Shirley Shaw says it's running in the red, despite growing public awareness and demand.
My sense is if there were more places available like mine, they would be filled very fast. It seems to me it would make a lot of sense for homes to be developed in this kind of care.
But whether we decide to help finance such alternative care programs in the future will depend largely on what society is willing to spend and who we elect to spend it. The challenge for government leaders is to start planning now, before time and momentum hurtle us blindly past those who need it. I'm Mike Strand, WCCO Television News, Minneapolis.
This week at its annual conference, the League of Minnesota Cities stressed the need for urban leaders to deal with the challenges of housing, transportation, and services for the elderly.
And another group of leaders gathers tomorrow to discuss a far different topic. It is one many of us actually try to avoid because it is difficult to talk about and has a tendency to draw angry reaction from both sides of the issue. The subject is crime in the black community. Now, if you watch TV news or you read newspaper accounts of crime, you can get the impression that there are many more black criminals than white. It is not true. Blacks do not account for more crime than whites. But there are serious facts in this issue. While blacks represent only 1% of Minnesota's population, blacks account for 17% of the state's inmate population. While blacks represent only 4% of the metro population, blacks account for 25% of all arrests. Those statistics draw the rhetoric, but these are often missed. When crimes are committed by blacks, their victims are most often black, not white. The most frequent victim of black crime is a 16 to 19-year-old black male. In fact, the leading cause of death of black men in their 20s is murder. 81% of all violent crime against black people is committed by blacks. Mike Walsher asked some questions tonight about black-on-black crime, of the experts and of the victims.
It was about this time of night a month ago that Tina Underwood was walking home from her mom's place in the Northside Projects. A black man grabbed her.
And so then I said, what's wrong with you? I said, why are you doing this here to me? He said, I'm going to rape, rob, and kill you. I said, man, you better go on about your business. And right here we started tussling.
She and the assailant fought for several minutes. Tina suffered head injuries before she finally got away.
It wouldn't care if he was black or white. Don't hurt me. Nobody, don't hurt me. He didn't have no reason putting his hands on me. I never did anything to that boy.
Since the attack, Tina dislikes working the late shift at this grocery. She's afraid to walk home after dark. It's the same fear you'd feel in any kind of crime, but the so-called black-on-black crimes create fear and frustration in specific neighborhoods.
It's just an additional level of stress in your life. You come home, you don't know somebody's entered your home, or you're going to have to incur the additional costs of burglar alarms. So you see a kid, you just see trouble. Instead of the joy of seeing children and watching children, you're apprehensive, constantly apprehensive. You see faces of folks that come to the community, you don't know their faces, you're looking at them hard. You don't want to be friendly.
Neighborhood leaders wonder why it happens. Why do members of a minority representing 1% of the state's population victimize other members of their own race? We sought a victim's perspective.
I don't know, they forgot. They forgot where they come from, to me. I know where I come from. I love who I am. I don't take from no one, and I don't want no one taken from me.
The biggest effort to solve the problem comes from leaders of the black community. They're urging neighborhood block watches and perhaps even citizen patrols to help reduce black-on-black crime. I'm Mike Walsher, WCCO Television News, North Minneapolis.
Those community leaders who are talking about black-on-black crime say they must find a solution to the problem before they can concentrate on other problems, such as joblessness and single-parent families.
This is how a Ferrari Testarossa looks on the road. And this is how a Ferrari Testarossa looks to the road, where it ultimately responds through the contact patch of its Goodyear Eagle tires. The exclusive tires chosen by Ferrari for every Testarossa sold in America. Goodyear Eagles, because there really is a difference.
This is Barney. He likes hamburgers, period. That's why I bring him to Baker Square. Mondays, he has their barbecue burger. On Tuesday, it's the bacon avocado cheeseburger. Wednesday, the Dijon burger with special mustard sauce. On Thursday, it's the Works burger with everything on it. It's his favorite. Friday, a simple cheeseburger. Me, I just like a salad and a nice piece of pie.
Baker Square. Come for the food, stay for the pie.
On Monday, it's apple pie. On Tuesday, it's French silk pie.
He's a doctor of optometry here at the iWorks. First step in the glasses fast, glasses right promise. Thanks, Steve. This little piece of paper is my prescription for a new pair of glasses. Now, here's the really fast part. The lab's right here in the iWorks with the specially trained technicians and all the latest equipment. They can make my glasses in an hour. You can stay and watch if you want. The new me. That fast.
Major HMO and PHP members can get 15% off regular priced eyewear at the iWorks.
These are the ground rules. I hook up with one guy a season. Usually takes me a couple weeks to pick the guy. Kind of my own spring training.
After 12 years in the minor leagues, I don't try out. The fact is, you're afraid of meeting a guy like me because it might be real. See?
Kevin Costner, Susan Sarandon, Bull Durham, America's other national pastime. Rated R.
Starts Wednesday, June 15th at a theater near you.
Minneapolis Park Board officials gave the go-ahead today to pump water from Bassett Creek in Worth Park into Brownie Lake. They say by pumping the water into Brownie, water levels will rise in all the Minneapolis city lakes. It takes 20 million gallons to raise the water levels an inch in all of those lakes on the chain. 240 million gallons to raise levels a foot in Brownie, Isle, Cedar, Calhoun, and by extension, Lake Harriet. Brownie is that little lake right to the left going down Highway 12 by the Prudential Building, and it's got big bass.
I was going to say, is that where you do your bass fishing?
You didn't ask, but I thought I'd fill in the blank.
Remember this time last year, though, when we got all that rain? Well, it was in July.
Yeah, it was in July. I have to keep pinching myself. It's this June, you know, we were having July and August temperatures, and now we're having April temperatures. 39 degrees in Duluth right now. A frost advisory in effect for northeast Minnesota and northern Wisconsin for tonight. Temperatures will drop down to the frost point. Now, we did reach 77 degrees today, believe it or not. It was early in the day, a 74-degree afternoon reading. We did have a trace of precipitation. That was that little line of clouds and showers that move through the Twin Cities. Much of it, though, did fall up to the north of us. Last night, we were watching a big thunderstorm move across the Iowa-Minnesota border. That developed into another huge thunderstorm complex late this afternoon, and tonight down in Illinois, a severe weather watch remains in effect, and those clouds that were pushing down from the north, producing clearing out there right now, and no more threat of any precipitation. In fact, with all of the cold air being pushed off to the south, we're going to have the frost up north. It's unbelievable. That's really what's happening out there right now. Take a look at the 24-hour temperature change. Yesterday we had 94 degrees. Today, 64 degrees at 4:30 in the afternoon. As much as 30 degrees cooler today than yesterday, as much as 40 degrees in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And you can see how it kind of tapered off there to the south and to the southeast. Our high temperatures today, well, maybe we're going to not have that either. There we go. High temperatures today. We're in the 70s over much of the area, but this is where all of the warm air went, off to the south and the southeast. We have 90 degrees out to the west, and some of that warm air is going to start returning to us, but we're going to have another day in the 70s tomorrow. It should be very, very pleasant around here. Crop moisture, I think that's the next biggest concern. When are we going to get any rain, if any at all? Well, it doesn't look like it's going to occur at least through the weekend, maybe late Sunday and into Monday, a chance of some showers and some thunderstorms, but almost all of the state in the dry category, excessively dry out in the northwest through North Dakota, severely dry out in northwestern North Dakota and into Montana. This area has had some rainfall in the last few days, and they're just about adequate right now. Take a look at tomorrow's weather map. Still high pressure over us. This is the dividing line between the cooler air and the warmer air, but that's going to start advancing back to the east over the next few days, and our temperatures by the weekend will be back up into the upper 80s to near 90 degrees, and the southeast is going to get quite a bludgeoning of bad weather over the next 24 hours. Our highs for tomorrow will be in the 70s, 60s off to the east of us. This area of 80s, though, finally building up out to the west. Well, we're clear outside right now at 61 degrees, humidity 60%, northeast winds at 14, a dew point of 47. The barometer's on the rise. Not much of a chance of any frost here in the Twin Cities. It's all going to be well north of the cities. Clearing and cooler tonight. 47 for an overnight low with the northeast winds gradually diminishing toward morning. Mostly sunny and pleasant tomorrow. 74 degrees, near perfect. For the last day of school in many school districts. Tomorrow night, mostly clear and still cool, 50 degrees, and for Friday, we'll be back into the heat, high temperature warming into the 80s, and the beginning of a warming trend with sunny skies. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, chance of showers maybe late in the day on Sunday, but high temperatures right around 90 degrees, overnight lows near 50. Pat?
No air conditioning tonight, though.
None tonight.
Thank you, Mike. Now we want to take a look at some of the rest of the day's news. A pair of bear cubs found themselves at the center of attention in Superior, Wisconsin. Officials say they came out of the woods in search of food, something bears are prone to do this time of year. DNR officials tranquilized them and then returned them to the wild. Caterpillars, they are invading Duluth. The little creatures feed on leafy trees. Officials say they are more of a nuisance than a threat and that they come around every 15 or 20 years. An amateur diver and a companion snapped a roll of black and white film of what they are sure is the long-lost wreckage of the Great Lakes freighter Anoco. They took the pictures 200 feet below the surface of Lake Superior. The ship sunk in 1915 and is considered to be the prototype for all modern Great Lakes freighters.
Chevy S10 invites you to own the street with the biggest engine ever offered in a compact pickup. The most V6 power and torque available in a compact truck. And a price to make your heart beat faster than ever.
The heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevy truck.
I wasn't sure where to get my muffler fixed.
There's a reason Midas is #1.
Everyone promised low prices.
It isn't just because we offer the economizer for $20.
Some said they had a guarantee.
Or that it comes with a Midas guarantee.
There had to be a difference.
There's a difference because no matter how little you pay for an economizer, you still get service from the one company no one can beat.
The difference was Midas.
Nobody beats Midas. Nobody.
Rug Bazaar, the Upper Midwest's largest dealer of Oriental rugs, is going out of business. The entire inventory of over 5,000 handmade rugs from India, Iran, Pakistan, Romania, and China has been reduced 50 to 63%. A warehouse filled with rugs of all patterns and styles. Silks, wools, rounds, squares, ovals, and longs. Every piece 50 to 63% off at the Rug Bazaar warehouse in Minneapolis. Take Highway 100 to Excelsior Boulevard. Go west to Louisiana, then north to Oxford, or call 927-6773.
We've always searched for patterns in life, but today we're closing in on the most significant pattern of all, the one that shapes our destiny. Watch when the Infinite Voyage presents The Geometry of Life, part of Digital Equipment Corporation's Discovery Series. It's television that brings you the wonder of it all.
Monday night at 7 on Channel 4.
Well, the difference between last night and tonight in Chicago is, I mean, huge.
It's very simple, isn't it?
But you could also, you could write a textbook on how to manage a game, too, in those late innings.
Yeah, I'd say this team is red hot, and we have some news for you regarding Oakland, which will pass your way in just a moment. Before tonight's game got underway, the Twins announced they had given Tom Kelly a one-year extension to his contract. Well, TK's pack now runs through 1989. You can see he was mighty darn excited about the whole situation. This is a strange night in terms of weather in the Windy City. A little rain, a lot of wind that was blowing right in from center, and so it appeared home runs would be nearly impossible. But Mark Salas, former Twin, proved us wrong. His solo shot came in the third. And here comes the play of the game, folks. Ninth inning, score tied, 1 out, 2-2, bases loaded. Randy Bush, a long drive, just missed clearing the fence. Again, the wind played an effect, but it was good enough for 2 runs. Dan Gladden knocked in another, and Juan Berenguer mopped up from there. He gets the win. He's 7-3. Twins beat Chicago 5-2 and take 2 out of 3 in this Chi-Town series. So we check the scoreboard. How is Oakland doing? They're trailing in the 8th inning. Twins could cut it to 8. California leads Texas 5-2. That's in the 9th. The Red Sox over the Yankees 4-3. It was Detroit 12-4 over Baltimore. Cleveland beat Toronto 4-2. One other game, Seattle leading Milwaukee 4-2 there in the 4th. Extra, extra, the Oakland A's are human. They could lose 4 straight for the first time this year. Frank White's double scored Bill Buckner for the Royals, who lead the A's, as we said, 5-4. They are in the 8th inning. National League, the St. Louis Cardinals have a lead over the Mets in the 4th inning. 5-4 Montreal over Philadelphia. Pittsburgh down the Cubs 5-1. That's the final. 5-1, same score. The Reds lead San Diego in the 4th inning. And on the coast, San Fran 3-0. They lead in the 2nd. The Dodgers 1-0 over Houston in the 2nd. Big trade in the big league. San Francisco sending Jeffrey Leonard to Milwaukee for infielder Ernest Riles. Leonard has received much of the blame for San Fran's subpar season thus far. He's hitting only .256. Hopkins earned a ticket to the state baseball tournament tonight on the strength of this play. Edina's Tom Nevers on the mound in relief here, and Tony Cobb executes a perfect suicide squeeze. Mark Sauter scores, bottom of the 7th. As you'd expect, Hopkins' bench empties onto the field. Hopkins wins the game. That was the only run of the game, 1-0 over Edina to advance to next week's state tournament. Well, yesterday the Class A golf tournament was played in sweltering heat. Today's Double-A first round was plagued by a miserable combination of wind, rain, and cold. And one of the leading team entrants in girls competition is Stillwater, and this is Kelly Schwartz of Stillwater's Ponies, but when the smoke cleared, it was Alexandria, the team leader. And in the boys competition, the winner was Bemidji, and here's a look at Russ Simonson of the Lumberjacks. Simonson also tied for medalist honors. They still have 18 holes to play, though, before it is over. Coon Rapids, Krista Ruderfeld, second last year, is the girls' leader after 18 holes. Alexandria, as we said, leads the team competition. Simonson, Nielsen, and Teakin are tied for the boys' lead on the boys' side. Simonson, Bemidji's squad, leads all of the boys' teams. Boys State Tennis Tournament opened today. 98th Street Racket Club in Bloomington. Defending champion Edina made fast work of Roseville, 7-zip. Number 4 single Andy Furlong used his superior height to beat Mark Cummings, 6'4", 6'love. Depth is a major reason a team can go to a state, but the Hornets will more than just have depth for their 2nd straight title. As we continue with the high school playdowns, high school's still going on, isn't it?
Yeah, good. Yeah. I hope we meet some of those golfers from Alexandria and Bemidji. Be nice to know them.
We'll probably meet them 24th up in Brainerd.
Terrific, that's right. All right.
Thank you, Ralph. Coming up next now, just because we graduate from high school, it doesn't mean that we forget school days. We'll have the story up next.
On WCCO Radio, we have 186 different news segments every day. From world and local news to business, weather, sports, and more. Turn to WCCO AM Radio 830, where the news runs like clockwork.
2 years ago, in the competition for journalism's highest award, this paper won a Pulitzer Prize. This paper won nothing. Since 1980, this paper has had 5 Pulitzer Prize finalists. This paper, only 2. Now this paper has won another Pulitzer Prize. No wonder the Minneapolis paper is green with envy. The Pioneer Press Dispatch. Nobody else brings you the news like this.
The Leadership Challenge is on and Ford's out front. The Northland Ford dealers are out to sell 5,000 new cars and trucks this month. To do it, they've got cash back and special package savings on some of the top-selling cars in the Northland. As much as $1,100 savings on Ford Taurus, over $2,000 on Thunderbird Turbo Coupes, more than $1,200 on new 88.5 Escorts. And be sure to register to win a new Ford Probe GT. First in sales, first in quality, #1 in value. Your Northland Ford dealers.
Say good. You may not want a doctor to talk to you like this, but then you're probably not 5 years old.
The month of June means graduation for thousands of high school students all over Minnesota and elsewhere.
A case in point tonight for 600 students from Minnetonka, leaving the old school behind and going for a whole new world of opportunity. But we also learned that the old excitement of high school days never really ends. Northrop Auditorium tonight, filled to the rafters with Minnetonka graduates, proud families, and all the excitement which comes with a rite of passage.
I stand here tonight looking at 630 different and very special dreams.
Among the spectators, Irene Telgis, a graduate of Minnetonka back in 1968, celebrating her daughter Molly's graduation.
She's always been a very good student, and I've always been very proud of her, and she's gonna do well, I know it. So when she goes on to school in San Diego, I'll be proud of her. I am now. I'm proud of myself, too. I think.
But the story doesn't end there for Irene. Just before the ceremony, she was huddled with her old classmates at Minnetonka to plan a 20-year class reunion. Such events may seem trivial, and many people skip their reunions, but Steve and Donna wouldn't agree. They met at their 10-year reunion and ended up getting married.
I don't think it's all that remarkable myself. But, I mean, you get a bunch of single people together at a party, something's going to happen, right?
Those two sets of grads from Minnetonka, the class of 68 and the class of 88, proof that we carry those high school days with us for a long time to come.
We got time for a short little news item. 5-4, Kansas City over Oakland. That means the Twins are only 8 back. There's about 100 games left. We're going to go to the World Series. That's where we're going to leave it now for this June 8th.
Until tomorrow. Good night, everyone.
What is it, Sergeant? Smoke signal?
No, Captain. Smoked beef, turkey, probably bratwurst.
Where?
There, Cub Foods.
You mean there's a smokehouse right in the store?
Take a look. That's why they taste so darn good.
The Smokehouse at Cub Foods, right in the deli, where everything from Italian sausage to bratwurst is smoked daily.
What are your orders, Captain?
Half a pound of turkey, half a dozen brat.
Italian sausage.
Cub Foods, it's a new way to run a supermarket.
We're having Lazy Boy Sidewalk sale at Slumberland for 1 week to prove once and for all that Slumberland sells more Lazy Boys in the Midwest because we get the largest selection.
We're selling more because we got the lowest price.
Selection. Over 2,500 in stock. It's price. Look at those for $198. Selection. You're talking over 200 in just one store.
Hey, price. Look at those for $298.
Price or selection. Don't you dare forget our 1 week sidewalk sale. You're still going to get a good buy.
I still think it's price.
Selection.
It's both at Slumberland.
This summer, what will you do?
And where will you go?
Well, think music.
Remember the Marktplatz.
And come to Orchestra Hall.
Inside.
Enjoy performances by Leonard Slatkin and the Minnesota Orchestra, outstanding soloists, and our renowned artists in residence, all during 4 weeks of wonderful concerts.
Outside.
There's more music, food, fashion, and fun, and all in the open air of the Marktplatz.
So when you think of summer,
think of music.
And come to Zomerfest 88.
Okay, our main message. No matter how you start the day, spend the day with the Light FM, 103 WLTE.
Donahue.
Weekdays on Channel 4.
Previously on Hill Street Blues.